What's up, agency owners? Jason Swenk, and have one of my amazing mastermind members, an amazing agency owner on this episode. We're going to talk about how he's grown his agency over the years. And really, he uses an analogy about why would you ride a bike when you can build an engine and go fast? So let's go ahead and get into the show. Hey, Bear, welcome to the show.
Hey, Jason, how you doing?
Yeah, excited to have you on. I think
Yeah, thanks for that intro. Appreciate it. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I mean, we've known each other for a long time, and I can't believe this is the first time getting you on. I should have. Shame on me.
I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, so for the ones that go on.
I pretty openly tell people, really, the hiring you that first year of my agency was one of the best things I did. Kept me alive and got me really to the point where I am now. Without it, I wouldn't be here.
Awesome. Well, glad to just be a small part of it. So for the people that have not heard of you yet, Bear, tell us who you are and what does your agency do?
Yeah, so I'm Bear Newman. I'm the president of Bear Fox Marketing. We're a digital marketing agency. We specialize, my forte is SEO. And then we've got a full staff here. We've got about 28 employees. We do email, Facebook, and Google Ads. So that's kind of our specialty. We don't do a lot of web development builds, a lot of other things. Those are kind of the four main channels we focus on.
And how did you get started? Like, why agency life?
Good question. I may not have fully thought through that career move when I first did it.
The guidance counselor didn't help you with that one?
Yeah, really hadn't thought that one through. Didn't know the kind of obstacles I'd be facing. I love doing SEO work, and I was doing the work for a publishing company, and thought, I should start my own agency. If I can do the work, then I'm sure I can run a company. It'd be a piece of cake. So really, when I started it, I really didn't even know it was called an agency. Honestly, I thought I was just starting an SEO business. And then I got into it and found out that they're actually called agencies, and realized there's a lot more to run an agency than just being able to do the work.
What did you first start charging your first client? Do you remember?
That's an interesting story. I actually had no idea what pricing even went for. I think my first SEO account, I was going to bid like $750 a month to build backlinks and actually get their account running. So it's definitely changed.
And how has the agency evolved over time? I mean, like, tell us about kind of where you were when you were riding the bike, and now you have this huge engine behind you. So
it's definitely, I did everything starting up, obviously, as the owner. I didn't have any employees that time, so I did everything from sales to servicing to marketing, everything. And it was just kind of figuring out as I went along. So now we've got really people who are much better at explaining our products than I was, selling them. We've got kind of our own Facebook. We take our own medicine. So we do our own SEO for our website to be able to have people find us. We do our own Facebook account, marketing. We've got quite a few ads going on out there. We just sat down this morning, do more creative, more videos for our agency. We've got Google ad campaigns. We've got people actively reaching out for referrals with our existing clients. We've got great client reviews coming in. We're the number one rated agency in Idaho right now. We've got, I think, 150 some odd reviews on Google. So there's a lot of things we're kind of building on and kind of keep that engine running.
What are some of the stages that you went through? So when you were doing everything yourself, what was it like when you were about to start bringing on a team? Like, what made you decide to do that?
Good question. It was really just not being able to keep up with the workload. Realizing, for me, one of my biggest concerns was keeping a good quality of work, and realizing that I couldn't and didn't really want to be everything to everybody. I want to focus on specific channels, and I want to have an agency of specialists, people who were really good at what they did and not really just do the minimum amount of work required. And that was really a little bit of the criteria for all of our hiring processes. So when I would hire up a creative person, I would actually give them a range and say, okay, you can say you can do the work, but can you really do the work? So here's a trial, here's a client, here's their brief. This is what I want. I want 2 to 3 Facebook ads. I want 2 to 3 of landing page mock-ups. And if they did 2, it was almost an automatic, unless they were 2 really good ones, it was almost an automatic drop off because you did the minimum amount that I asked to do. I wanted people who wanted 3 and want to do the best they possibly could with 3 of them. So it's kind of that underlying tone for the growth of the company is always doing more than what was required.
What was the most important thing you've learned in your business to date? And when did you figure it out?
So I feel like one thing that has been, I would say, the cornerstone of the company is almost how the company got started. I feel like I had a little bit of a analysis paralysis when trying to get my company started. And you have that saying, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. I totally agree with that, but I also believe there's a difference between having a plan and trying to plan for everything. A simple example, I guess, a story I can share with you is my very first account that I got. I got a referral to go into the largest pest control company here in the Valley. And the marketing director, my first meeting with him was, I'm meeting with you just as a courtesy. You're not getting this account. I just thought I'd meet with you as a favor and just get to know you a little bit. I'm like, okay, I appreciate that. And I went into it with the idea of I just wanted the experience of doing a proposal, of knowing what the process was like, and so I could get better at it. So with that in mind, I sat down, worked really hard. Long story short, I actually ended up winning the account. He saw how hard I worked to win the account. I ended up getting it. And I'm on the phone with him. He's like, okay, so how do you receive payment? And I had never even thought of it. Never even occurred to me how I'm going to get paid
Me
for it.
too. Yeah.
And I said, check's fine. That works. And he's like, oh, we don't pay by check. It's only by credit card. And I said, and he's like, do you use like Square credit card processing or something? And I was like, yes, as I'm typing it in Google, figuring out what Square credit card processing was. I didn't know what it was. And I'm like, yep, that's what I use. He's like, great. Just if you're going to be in the office sometime, swing by. We'll swipe our credit card and get you set up. Okay, great. I'm actually headed there this afternoon. Left my house. I had a home office at the time. Drove to Walmart, bought the card, set it up in the parking lot, went in and had the card swiped. And that was how I got my first bill. And it's one of those things where it's easy to step back and say, well, how stupid is that? You didn't even like anticipate how to get paid. But it's one of those being able to go into an agency world or any kind of business and say, whatever comes at me, I'll figure it out. There are things that I could never anticipate and accept that fact, and then have that confidence and say, whatever does happen, I'll figure it out.
I would have said $100 bills, please.
I do like that idea.
Unmarked $100 bills.
Yes.
I had a similar story that I always tell. Like, someone asked me to send them an invoice so I could get paid, and I didn't know what an invoice was.
Nice.
But you just have to fake it. If you're thinking back, what was the worst thing that happened to your agency that you guys overcame? Was there like a time that you were just like, screw it, I'm done?
Yeah, there was a time. It was definitely rough. We actually had, so the year COVID hit was definitely our roughest year. We had 2 clients that were kind of making transitions to bring their marketing in-house. And sadly, they actually made up about 53% of our total revenue. And that was in 2020. And so we lost our first account in January, and we lost the second account, which made up 27% of our revenue, in May. And then COVID hit in March. And so that was one of those things where the writing was on the wall. We kind of saw where we were trending and where it was going to go. And I sat down with my business partner, Glenn, great guy, very smart, and just said, look, this is where it's going. We have 2 options. We can either downsize, start laying people off, and brace for this loss in revenue and try and build back up, or we can take it head on. We need a sales team to get that revenue replaced. And the realization was it's going to take time for them to get up to speed to fill the funnel and get sales coming in. And we had this discussion in January, right when the first client dropped off. And I said, you know what? Let's go big or go home. We need to hire two, because if we hired one, there's a chance he won't work out. We need to hire two. And if they don't work, we're going to lose the cost on both of them. But ultimately, we need to swing for the fences. So let's just hire two and let's go for it. And fortunately, after that in June, it was definitely from January to June, it was a very hard time. But at the end of the year, we only grew by 70%. So we replaced the loss of 53 and then grew the additional.
Man, that's stressful. I mean, whenever I hear people saying that they have over one client over 20%, that stresses me out. But then knowing that you have 53 and one, like before then, did you have any kind of a thought of going, well, no, we're good here, or like we could lose this and then we'd be in trouble? Or because a lot of us, we're not proactive, we're more reactive to it. Is that what you've learned about that?
I feel like a lot of times I am reactive, maybe with some of the day-to-day type stuff, the fires that I end up putting out. But with that was always on my mind. I was always seeing that, realizing, okay, if these guys drop off, we are in trouble. They make up X% of net revenue, gross revenue. So I was watching that and saw the writing on the wall. And that's when I was kind of already thought through, these are our options. Let's go for it.
So you were ready. Yeah.
Yeah, mentally, I was kind of preparing myself and had kind of mapped out what needed to happen. So I still try and plan and then ultimately execute the best I can when the circumstances arise.
So I love the concept of hiring two salespeople. My good buddy Ian Garlick, who's been on the show many, many times and in the mastermind as well, he always mentions doing that. Now it's hard enough to find one salesperson to work. You're going after two. So what were like, and I know with Darby, and all of our amazing people, we've always found through personal referrals and networking. How did you find two, and walk us through that process of getting them up to speed to replace all that revenue that you guys lost?
Yeah, so one was through a referral, a guy I had been working with for a number of years. And another one was actually, we put a listing on ZipRecruiter to see what kind of candidates we could get. And honestly, looking at it, we felt really strongly about both of them. But the one that was in our networking group, we thought was the strongest candidate, potentially have some of the best possibilities, ended up not working out. And he ended up helping with some of the operations, more of an operations type side. And then Chris, he's actually our VP of business development right now. So he got promoted. Guy's an absolute rock star. And he's really exactly what you try and find in any employee. I feel like we're incredibly fortunate to have found him. Goal setting, detail oriented, positive, all about setting process, understands the importance of processes, systems, having a buttoned up sales process, follow up. He's just kind of everything you'd hope to find.
That's awesome. I love to hear that. It never goes the way you think. It's gonna go, and that's amazing that you found him on ZipRecruiter.
Yeah, very unexpected.
That's why you spread it out, like shout it out from everywhere. Who cares where it comes from? What's your daily routine look like now?
Good question. Now, I come in and I really try to oversee. I'm trying to extricate myself as much as I can from the day-to-day operations and really go back to that philosophy of working on the company and not in the company. I'm getting people trained to be able to kind of master their area, to be able to make sure we're high and tight, oversee kind of the culture of the company is what my focus is. So I'll come in the office, make sure my inbox is fairly up to date. I usually don't do that first. I'll actually look at some internal communications, the overall metrics of the company, how many accounts we have, if there are any issues, problems with certain accounts. And I usually do my email a little later in the morning. I feel like that's more of a reactive element for me, see what other people have kind of thrown my direction and respond. So I try and look at top line metrics within the company, possible hires we may need to get going, really more of the running of the company.
Yeah. Well, I just look at it when you start transforming to, the president, you're a firefighter. You're a coach, you're a strategist for, the company, and you're really kind of the face of the organization as well. And I'm glad you look at the numbers as well. Like, you don't have to be a Excel geek or nerd. I'm sure not. Like, I look at a spreadsheet and I want to kind of vomit sometimes. I just want to know that, hey, how profitable are we? Are we at these certain metrics? What's our
Yep.
growth rate? And then let all the finance people that are really smart with that handle that part.
Yep. You can match up the numbers down to the penny. Go for it. That's just not my forte, not my favorite thing to do.
Exactly. What are you really excited about in your agency with the coming years now?
I feel like so I love growth, and I love all the pieces we have in place. I feel like we're really getting a lot of our systems and processes in place. Kind of you talked at the beginning, riding a bicycle or building an engine. And I feel like the better engine you have, the more expertise it takes to construct a really well-made engine. And the better engine you can make is really going to be your foundation for what you can do or how fast you can go moving forward. So I feel like going through and working with our VP of development to make sure we've got our sales process buttoned up and the right price points and the right services and scope of work and our specialties trained and the right training systems in place to be able to expand. I feel like we've been kind of fine tuning that. And I feel like we've made great strides there. So we're poised in a position where really we could easily double the company size again this year, if not greater. It's just one of those, I get excited about growth and the new challenges that it presents. So I think that's really what I'm most looking forward to.
Amazing. Yeah. I mean, from seeing where you've grown from 8 years ago to where you're at now is pretty unbelievable. And maybe we'll try to link up to that one video you did for me many, many years ago.
Your budget buster video, I did.
The budget buster
I thought it
video.
was
Yeah.
brilliant. I still use that today, actually. So
Yeah, what Bear's referring to is the budget buster of how to get the budget from the prospect 99% of the time. Literally, this was a free video, and you still can. I still think we have it out there, and we also have it in the playbook and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it was literally a 2-minute video. That's crazy.
yep.
Tell us a little bit about the book.
Yeah, so Glenn and I, my business partner, wrote a book called The Bear Fox Principle. And the premise of the book is essentially a lot about digital marketing and what it takes to make it successful. A lot of business owners, we meet with hundreds of them every year, talk to them, kind of consult with them, and find out that a lot of them don't know their numbers at all. They don't know their cost per acquisition, cost per lead. They don't know any of the numbers to grow the company. And so we've got a lot of things in there that kind of spell that out of what you need to understand and know to make a campaign successful. Don't just throw it against the wall, come in with much more sophisticated or in-tune approach, knowing what you need to be at to make it successful. And then on that note, also as a general business philosophy, it doesn't need to be a dog eat dog world. You can go out there and you can have integrity and you can ultimately do what's best for your client and your company and still be successful. I feel like that's getting more and more rare. And that was really something we wanted to make kind of an emphasis of the Bear Fox way is we want to do what's best for us and for the client.
Well, and I totally agree with that because both parties have to win. It doesn't mean
Yep.
because you won, someone else has to lose. And it took me a long time to realize that. Like especially when I ran the first agency, I used to try to crush every agency out there. I was like, we can only be the only agency. And that's not true. Like, I wish I opened up, my thinking of, no, I can learn from other people in my industry. And that's why we created the mastermind of, and it's kind of funny. I would have never let myself in back then. I guess I just had to create it since no one would let me in, I guess.
There you go. Yep, and I feel like that's really one of the things that I've loved, in Grant Cardone's 10X rule. In there, he talks about success is created, and I feel like that really is, kind of a key understanding in realizing that anyone can create their success. It's not limited. You can be successful, I can be successful. If we're bidding on the same account and you win and I don't, the question is, that wasn't the only account you're bidding on, was it? I mean, honestly, there are more accounts out there, so you can still win, even if you don't get that particular account. So, having that belief that it is created, not taken from someone else, is really going to be key to just keep going and keep looking for unexpected opportunities.
Yeah. I mean, we just have to be resourceful. I mean, that's at the end of the day, being an agency owner, you have to be resourceful. It goes back to what you were saying. You can't plan for everything. You just have to figure it out like as it goes. I was never a big planner. I could figure out things very fast. Sometimes the right way, but if it was the wrong way, I'd be like, all right, I know exactly how not to do that one again
Right.
going forward. Um, give us the name of the book again and where they can get it.
So it's called the Bear Fox Principle, and it's on Amazon.
Awesome. Easy enough. Go check that out. And what's the agency website so people can check you guys out?
It's bearfoxmarketing.com.
Awesome. Well, Bear, man, thanks so much for coming on. I'm not going to wait another 8 years to have you on. But thanks so much. Everyone, go check out their book, check out their website. And if you want to be around other amazing agency owners like Bear and his partner, I highly recommend you guys go to digitalagencyelite.com and apply. And if we think you're a good fit for the mastermind and the community and we know it can help you out, we'll invite you to join. So go to digitalagencyelite.com. And until next time, have a swank day.